Today, I'm making the most iconic desserts tiny and giant and testing if I can dunk, bite, or pick them up without them falling apart. Every time I fail, you win a prize. Starting with dessert for breakfast and everyone's favorite cereal, Froot Loops. It's sweet, it's fruity, and super colorful and tastes exactly like my childhood. But let's see if I can make it as crunchy and as delicious as the real thing. We got corn flour, oat flour, and wheat flour. Check, check, and check. It's cereal, so of course I have to add sugar to it. A little bit of salt and baking powder so it can puff up nicely. It looks like Mount Fuji from here. This looks good and all, but I feel like our cereal needs to be infused with some flavor and a little bit of color. I'm thinking we're gonna make strawberry flavored Froot Loops and add the whole bag of freeze-dried strawberries and blend. That should hopefully give our cereal some good color. Strawberry dust. Okay, let me mix it all together. It's looking pretty pink, but I feel like it doesn't have enough color. But just in case I have some strawberry emulsion, I don't know if it's doing anything. Okay, maybe if I add the liquid in, it will make it look a lot more intense. So I have some oil and milk. I mean, it is cereal. I think we can dye it just a tiny little bit more. Honestly, don't think that did anything, but made it worse. Because now it's splotchy. Okay, I got it to stick together, and now I have to shape it into a giant Froot Loop. More like a donut or a bagel looking thing. And now the challenge is to make it stick together because it's kind of crumbly. It looks more like a bagel than it does a cereal and it's not very vibrant, but I might be able to save the tiny ones and go in with the real stuff. We'll do some blue. These look like those little bracelet beads that you make friendship bracelets with. Now I just have to poke a hole in the middle and hopefully they stick. Look at that, it's so cute. Now I'll just make some purple ones, some greens, yellow, and we'll make this more intensely red. I think that should be good, but now we gotta bake them up and see if they'll actually turn out. Our Froot Loops have finished and they're fully cooled down. I don't know about this. Here's our giant one. Smells good, but kind of reminds me of a dog treat. Let's pour in our real Froot Loops. Nice and colorful. And my mini Froot Loops. They're so cute. I honestly don't even know how I would tackle this, but I'm probably gonna do it mischief style. Just gonna have to eat it with a giant spoon, I guess. But first, let's try our Froot Loops. I gotta get a red one in there. My mini loop. Yeah, that did not taste anywhere. It's like Play-Doh with a little bit of a strawberry flavor to it. Actually though, the giant ended up tasting a lot better than the mini one. I don't know why. There just seems to be a lot more flavor in this, but it's still pretty bad. I'm gonna give my Froot Loops a 3 out of 10, which means you get a prize. First winner's gonna get a Stanley Cup, and I'll have the details and form all in the description box below, but hopefully I won't fail anymore. Keep watching because the desserts only get bigger and better from here. And YouTube even gave me the ultimate challenge. This is the ultimate summer dessert. An ooey gooey s'more with soft, melty chocolate, burnt caramel inside of a graham cracker. Is there a more iconic summer dessert? No, but it could be bigger. First things first, I'm gonna make our marshmallows. So into my bowl of water, I'm gonna sprinkle in some gelatin powder and let it bloom. And then we have to cook up some sugar syrup. I'm gonna add sugar, water, a little bit of corn syrup, and a pinch of salt. And then we're gonna heat it up until it reaches about 235 degrees. This whole process is gonna take like 5 minutes. It's at temp. And now this is where the fun begins. I'm gonna pour the hot syrup into my mixer's bowl, and then we're gonna add our bloom gelatin, attach the whisk attachment, and then I'm gonna let it rip for about 5 to 10 minutes until this whole thing triples in volume. Okay, so once it's doubled in size and looking glossy, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract and whip it for like another few minutes. It's looking fluffy, but not quite there yet. It's looking pretty good, and this is as good as I'm gonna get it. It's like marshmallow cream fluff. And then into my marshmallow mold, I've already greased everything, but now I have to dust it with cornstarch and powdered sugar so nothing sticks. I learned from the peach gummy marshmallow mistake. I will not fail this. Okay, now I'm gonna pour in my marshmallow fluff into the mold. Everything is so sticky, but it's nice and fluffy, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Let me spread this out just a little bit. One more dusting of our powder, and that's pretty much it. I just have to let it dry out overnight, and then we can work on our graham crackers a little later in the video. This is a chocolate and vanilla pudding cup, and as far as snack desserts go, this was one of my favorites growing up. And when I couldn't decide between chocolate or vanilla, this gave me both. Still hits. But the problem is, this cup was never enough. So let's supersize it. Making pudding from scratch is actually easier than you might think. So into a saucepan, I'm gonna add some sugar and then 2 egg yolks. Just make sure I don't break the egg yolk. I broke the egg yolk. Then with my whisk, I'm just gonna beat it until it's nice and pale yellow. Or more like a thick paste. Okay, now we're gonna whisk in some cornstarch and salt to balance it out. And then we're gonna slowly add our milk while whisking. It's kind of like I'm making a sweet mac and cheese sauce. Just gotta make sure it doesn't turn out lumpy. And then turn on the heat. All right, so now as it's heating up, I just have to keep stirring it and stirring it until it's thick and bubbly like lava. And then to make it silky smooth, we'll throw in a little bit of butter and some vanilla extract to flavor it. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be so good. But since I'm lazy, I'm turning this into a 2-in-1 pot of pudding. We're gonna transfer our vanilla into this bowl right here, and then I'm gonna add some cocoa powder into our base and turn it into chocolate pudding. And don't worry if it's looking a little thin, it definitely thickens as it cools. I'm gonna save you for later. For our chocolate, I'm doing both chocolate chips and cocoa powder. Extra chocolatey. It's not quite the same chocolate color that I wanted. Gotta add my black cocoa. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. I mean, is this cup big enough? Let me pour in our first layer of chocolate pudding. And now our middle vanilla layer. Hopefully I have enough. Okay, that looks good. And then we'll top it off with another layer of chocolate pudding. Ooh, it's jiggly. Please don't sink. I mean, so far that looks pretty perfect, but we're not done yet. I have to chill it. Thing with pudding though is that when you chill it, it has this foam, so I gotta cover it with some paper. And like normal pudding cups, I'm gonna put a piece of foil on top. Let's get this thing cold. And now we have our giant, regular, and tiny pudding. Okay, let's see how this one turned out. Ooh. The paper kept the top from drying out, which is good. So the original has a nice jiggle to it. Let's see if mine does. There's a slight jiggle here. I would say the colors, theirs looks more chocolatey, but I feel like I use good chocolate. So let me try theirs for control. Yeah, it's good, but is it giant good? Wow. There's a weird chocolatey aftertaste with theirs. This isn't even pudding. It's kind of like chocolate mousse. Super intensely chocolate, but I need to try just the vanilla layer. Yeah. I'm gonna give this one to me because this is gourmet and this is now just mid. 10 out of 10. It's summertime and this is your classic ice cream sandwich with the chocolate cookie wafer and a vanilla ice cream center. Honestly, my favorite's the Neapolitan, but I couldn't find it. And this somehow shrunk because I remember it being at least double the size. Delicious. So we're gonna start by making our chocolatey cookie wafer, and I'm gonna start with some butter. We're gonna make it nice and soft with some brown sugar, fluff it up, and then I'll add an egg and vanilla extract. Okay, now I gotta mix in the dry ingredient, but we have flour, some baking soda, powder, and salt, and of course I need some extra dark chocolate. I'll give it a quick mix, and then we're gonna dump it into the wet batter and just mix it all up. I'm going for more of like a soft cookie dough here, and I hope this works. Okay. This looks good. But now to make them giant, I feel like this size. So I'm gonna transfer the dough into both of them. It's looking a little wet and sticky. Press them down into both pans until they're mostly flattened. There's so much butter, at least it's not sticking to my hand. I love a good ice cream cone, but my favorite flavor has always been cookies and cream, which is probably why I also love a good ice cream sandwich so much, because it's kind of like two things in one. It's almost like a frozen ice cream Oreo, which I also tried to recreate in the last giant video. But now we gotta add in those classic holes on the biscuit, so I'm gonna do it with a chopstick. Now let's bake them off. Our cookie shells are done and they have cooled completely. So now we can go ahead and sandwich and fill them. I was thinking we could just fill it up with vanilla like they did, or we can make it interesting and go for Neapolitan. Why go for one flavor when you can have all three? I'm gonna start off with our vanilla side, and then we're gonna scoop on our strawberry. I'm gonna make the strawberry side nice and thick, and then we're gonna add our chocolate. I gotta somehow shape this to be full and squared off. That looks so good already. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. Okay, now I have to put the top layer on and then press it down gently, and then I'm gonna smooth out the sides. Don't break. Don't break. So I'm gonna go in with my offset spatula and just kind of smooth out the edges. Oh, that worked. This looks good, but like a classic ice cream sandwich, it usually comes wrapped in some like parchment paper. So I'm gonna wrap this up like a present, and we're gonna freeze it for a little bit so everything firms up. And here we have our tiny little bite-sized ice cream sandwich. Is this even big enough for a regular bite? A regular size and our satisfying mumbo jumbo Neapolitan ice cream sandwich. It's hard and frozen as a brick. Can I bite into it? So the part that's not touching the ice cream, it still has a little bit of crispiness to it. But the part that touches the ice cream, it's soft like a biscuit. And it just kind of melts in your mouth. I really wish I could get to the strawberry part. But I'm gonna say this was a giant success. 8 out of 10. This is my world's best chocolate chip cookie. It has over 12 million views. And you all seem to really love my recipe. But the one thing I've never tried is making it giant. Will it still be gooey on the inside and perfectly crispy on the outside? We'll find out. First things first, I always have to brown my butter. Sometimes it bubbles like this, and then the milk solids just get nice and golden nutty brown. And that's what makes a good chocolate chip cookie. Our butter's melted, and I got my setup ready for a giant and a tiny cookie. I didn't forget about the tiny one. But first, I gotta borrow some butter for our tiny cookie, and the rest goes in here. White sugar, brown sugar, mix it up. I should try to do one of those tiny hand cooking challenges. Now, we add our eggs. And now we'll add the world's tiniest egg into the world's best chocolate chip cookie dough. Oh, it's such a pretty blue inside. It's a robin's egg. Now we add salt, baking soda, and vanilla extract. Now we add our flour and our chocolate chips. Tiny chips for tiny cookies. Whole giant bag for giant cookies. Still need a lot. It's ready to be formed into a cookie. We're doing cookie crisp. Honestly, I have no idea how this is gonna turn out. I'm using the same basic recipe, but with the quail egg, and I don't know if it's gonna change the texture, the taste. The only way to do this is to dump it all on this pan. The dough might look a little crumbly, but not to worry. I'm just gonna press it all back together, and hopefully it spreads to be a lot bigger than this once it bakes. Big cookie, big oven. Tiny cookie, tiny oven. And once they're done, we're gonna let them fully cool. Now for scale, here's our regular chocolate chip cookie that just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Got everyone from Jupiter to Pluto orbiting the sun. I mean, I have to go for our teeny tiny cookie first. Look how small it is compared to this one. But how does it taste with the quail egg? That was a cookie cereal and so much better than our Fruit Loops. But can I pick up our giant cookie without it breaking? So this might be the downfall of my crispy on the outside, chewy gooey on the inside. Then I might not be able to pick this up. Oh gosh, don't break, don't break, don't break. Oh. Oh no! Oh, that makes me so sad. I may have failed to pick up my world's best chocolate chip cookie, but it's still the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had. That's ironic because one of you guys are gonna get $50 to crumble cookie. Congrats, but my cookie recipe is still 10 out of 10. It's the next day, and I think our marshmallows are pretty set. So far, the removal part is easier than the peach gummy, I'll say that, but it's still sticking a little bit at the bottom. Yay! But for the most part, our marshmallow is a success. Maybe to make it a little thicker, I should just fold it in half like this. A little candy blanket. I'm gonna need some graham crackers, so let's put that together. I have a food processor here. I'm just gonna add regular flour, whole wheat flour, some brown sugar, cinnamon, because cinnamon honey graham cracker is the best. Baking soda and salt and some butter, and then we're gonna whirl it all up. I know this still looks pretty crumbly, but now I have to add some honey, a little bit of milk to glue it all together. This is where you get the honey and honey grams. And then we're gonna run it one more time until a dough ball forms. Okay, at least it's sticking. Okay, let me dump out the dough. It's looking a little dry, but I feel like graham crackers kind of dry anyways. Okay, but now I have to chill it in the fridge so that I can roll it out later. Okay, I left it in there for about 20 minutes and it's nice and firm. So now I have to roll it out. And I think I'm gonna do it on a parchment paper. It's a little firm. I just realized I have to make a giant rectangle so I can make 2 squares. Perfect. We gotta straighten out the edges. Man, this is kind of falling apart already. We're going for a more of a rustic look here. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to do this design. So I think with my fork, I'm gonna go in towards the middle and perforate it. Hey, that worked out pretty easy. The problem with this side is that the dough is so dry. As I'm putting these holes in, they're cracking even more. Hopefully baking will solve that problem. Our s'mores, our graham cracker is ready, and it actually looks pretty good. A little chipped on this end, but part of me is really tempted to just break it like this. It's just bending and it's not breaking. Oh no, it's breaking at the wrong point. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna cut it. Ta-da! Now while it's still hot, I'm gonna lay down my chocolate. I'm gonna go for a double layer of marshmallows here. Oh, I can already see the chocolate melting. Oh, and hopefully we can get our marshmallows to be roasty toasty. Oh my gosh. You are beautiful. Okay, let's layer it. Oh no, I was so caught up in making this giant s'more. Forgot to make a tiny one, which means I guess that is kind of a fail. So one of you guys will actually be winning $100 to Amazon. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the meltiness of this marshmallow though? Our chocolate layer is not quite melty yet, but the marshmallow is nice and gooey. And the graham cracker, not bad. This giant s'more is a solid 8 out of 10.
Can we try that?
This is a tiramisu, my favorite dessert. Usually it just comes in a little piece like this with espresso soaked layers of ladyfingers. This one barely has any mascarpone cheese in the middle, but it has a generous portion on top. As far as tiramisu goes, there's never a bad one, but this one, I know I can make it better. And when YouTube even asked how I would supersize a tiramisu, I rise up to the challenge. I even found a 5-pound tub of mascarpone cheese, and hopefully we're gonna make enough to fit this hotel-sized pan. Is this big enough for you and your friend, YouTube? I'm overwhelmed. I have an industrial-sized mixing bowl. Like, have you ever seen anything bigger? Okay, but I think it's just big enough to mix my mascarpone with some sugar. Oh man, it's hard to get out. This is gonna be a workout. I was complaining that the other dessert didn't have enough cream in the center. Now we're gonna add the powdered sugar. I'm using powdered sugar so it's easier to mix because I don't trust myself to do the regular type of sugar. It's gonna get too grainy. Can this mixer even handle all this cheese? It's mixed. Okay, the cheese is done, so now we have to fluff it up with some whipping cream. So I'm gonna add some more powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract, and this whole quart of heavy whipping cream. And then we're gonna just whip it up on low speed first so it doesn't splatter everywhere, and then I'm gonna crank it up to high speed. Okay, that actually happened quite fast. Ooh, this actually looks pretty good. I think I could whip it a little tiny bit more, but I don't want to make butter, so I gotta be careful. Can't let YouTube down. Now I get to transfer this whole thing and somehow mix it and make it fluffy with the cheese. If I nail this recipe, you guys have to subscribe. And YouTube, maybe you can put me on the trending page. They're like, that's not how it works. Okay, how am I gonna do this? You know what? I'm going to beat it and lighten the cream up with the cheese so that it's a little bit floatier and airier for me to add in the rest. I need a giant size spatula if I'm gonna do this type of work. And now we mix. And now we get to fill. I'm gonna actually cheat, and instead of dipping one by one, I'm just gonna pour the very strong coffee to the bottom of the pan and then just let them all soak. Or should I put it down first and then pour it over? And by it, I mean these lady fingers. They turn into those spongy cakes when you soak them. Am I even gonna have enough lady fingers for this? Might have to cut off my own. Now we're gonna soak it, but not too much. Our first layer of cream going in, and I'm not gonna be stingy like this one. Let's smooth it out. This must be how hotels do it for those giant buffets. Piece of cake, layer 1 is done. But you know what my favorite part of a tiramisu is when they have that dusted cocoa powder on top, and I just don't feel like they do that enough. Now back to layering the ladyfingers. We have finished 2 layers, and I am coming down to my last package. I am back with 3 more packages of ladyfingers to round this out, and hopefully I shall have enough, because this will be the most epic tiramisu you have ever seen. I wonder if these are gonna require a little bit more coffee because they're like thicker. Final dump, gotta make this last layer thick. Nice cream top. I have to say, this is looking pretty impressive. But now I have to let it chill overnight to fully set. And I didn't just make a small drawer of tiramisu, I made a whole shop. Our tiramisus have set, and we have our giant. This is enough tiramisu to feed a whole neighborhood. Our regular size, which kind of looked tiny next to the giant, and of course I had to make a cute little tiny tiramisu. Now all that's left to do is to dust it with more cocoa powder, and now I can dig in. But for something this giant, I need to call in backup.
Wow, this is giant.
Huge, it's huge. Is this the biggest tiramisu you guys have ever seen?
Yes, it's massive.
Let's see if it's any good.
This is big. Is this too much?
Cheers. Cheers. No such thing as too much tiramisu.
2 coffee.
Good.
100 out of 10.
100 out of 10.
100 out of 10. Yummy.
Well, I like it.
100 out of 10. I hope that was good enough for you, YouTube. But if you guys like this video, go watch me test out more giant versus tiny foods.